Filling up at the pump. It's been a ubiquitous part of my life. The best part of 6 years. But the best part about filling up a car with petrol is what happens when you're done filling. Because now I've got a full tank of fuel and a 3 litre turbocharged 6-cylinder engine at my disposal. But cars like these, well, they're dinosaurs today. The amount of people lining up to buy the only rear-wheel drive 6-cylinder hatchback ever made pales into insignificance compared to that. These Teslas, especially the Model 3, when they hit the market a few years ago, were unbelievably hot property, and there were multiple year waiting lists for people to get them. But now that they've come down in price and you can pick them up for $40,000 or $50,000, will a petrolhead like me be convinced? Let's find out. Now, normally at this point, I would show you a fantastic looking 4 or 6 or 8 cylinder petrol engine under the bonnet, but because of course this is an electric car, there is nothing to be found. And that's not because it's a mid-engined car. No, it is in fact kind of an all-engined car, because in the front and the rear there are 2 massive electric motors that are powered by an 82 kilowatt hour battery pack, and combined they make 335 kilowatt, which is about as much power as a C63 AMG, and 640 newton meters of torque. And of course, because there is no gearbox to put the power through, that will be delivered at any speed in exactly the same way with virtually no noise at all. You can see why this car earns the title of the Model 3 Performance, because it really does have M car, AMG car, Audi RS car power, but it'll cost you absolutely nothing to fill up. And now, the interior. This is one of the strangest interiors that I've ever been. There are pretty much no buttons to speak of whatsoever. Behind the steering wheel you have the shift knob, and on the other side you have the indicator stalk. Here on the steering wheel itself you have 2 little scroll wheels, one of which I'm told controls the volume and what song's playing. The other side controls your adaptive cruise and lane keep assist for Tesla's autopilot system. And other than that, everything else is on the massive TV screen here in the middle. In essence, it's really no different to any other car infotainment system, and the features that it has are cool, but not necessarily any more than any normal car would have. You can pair up your phone to it, play your music, take phone calls, you can do your maps on the screen. You've got a couple cup holders, there's a little bit of storage here in the center console which opens backwards. You've got electric, leather and heated seats here in the front, which are surprisingly plush. Normally you would expect for a performance car to have really aggressively bolstered hard seats. Rear legroom is actually quite impressive, and it has a really good amount of boot space, of course, because there's no exhaust or anything to be put under the boot floor. A lot of people do like to discuss the build quality of these Teslas, and well, this one, having done nearly 130,000 Ks, the doors are clicking. There's a little bit of bubbling on the leather there on the door. And I must admit, you get inside and, I don't know, for some reason it just doesn't feel like the over $100,000 car that it was when it was new. Now, time to see what AMG performance, but with no noise whatsoever, is truly like. No doubt the first question you're all asking, is the Model 3 Performance fast? Well, let's find out. And the answer is absolutely. From 0 to probably 80, 90, maybe 100 or so, it is really quick. I mean, this thing does 0 to 100 in the mid 3-second range. The first thing you notice when you get behind the wheel of a Tesla is the visibility is excellent, and you can place the car on the road really nicely. There's some little haunches up there on the bonnet, which means you can kind of see where the front wings are. And then the other weird thing is the steering. The steering wheel is tiny. It feels like I'm using my old Logitech G27 steering wheel on my computer, and the steering ratio is like alarmingly quick, to the point where actually I find it a little bit hard to control, simply because it just means that mid-corner it's not perhaps quite as precise. The handling is actually extremely impressive, and it just feels hunkered down and planted on the road. And maybe the immense power and really, really fast steering kind of helps with that and helps to hide the mass of the car in a way. But amazingly, even on a road like this, which is really not where the power of this car is designed to be used, it is actually still surprisingly usable. I'm certainly not using full throttle, but out of this corner, you know, foot flat, brake, you know, turn in, yeah, it's getting up to some absolutely rocketing speed, but genuinely you can actually kind of use the power that it has available, which is really quite nice. I wanted to hate on it because I'm a petrol head, I like cars that make noise, but I wouldn't say that it is completely devoid of emotion. It is easy to kind of label this as just being like a really fast fudge. It works, it does what you ask of it, but it has no soul. But much to my surprise, genuinely, to drive on a road like this, it's fast, it handles great, you feel somewhat connected to the drive, more so than I expected. There's probably two main reasons why I wouldn't buy one. One is I like to have something a little bit different, hence why I drive a yellow Skoda. No one else has a yellow Skoda, whereas these Model 3s are absolutely everywhere. And then the other one too is I still like to be able to hear an engine and just general driving stuff. It's slightly slower steering and also just slightly better feeling inputs would be nice to have. But overall, the Model 3, especially this performance one, is an impressive car. It's great to drive and it really is a do everything sports sedan, even though it has an electric engine. So, believe it or not, as a petrolhead, I would recommend. It's a fantastic car. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you again next time.